Tyrone. Like you're
Yeah,
sitting.
You are alive,
today.
right?
Oh,
We are live and welcome to the Fresh Space. It's one of those cold days. I don't want to say it's a Monday, a Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday. It doesn't really matter. We heard from the president, so we're still in lockdown. But welcome to a fresh perspective where love really matters with Linley, Tyrone, and Jeremy. And we're going to be diving into a couple of aspects there. We might find out why there's a curse upon people based on love. Linley, elaborate, you were saying?
No, so this book obviously will come out, I think, in September. But do we all know the story about the three blind men coming across an elephant? It's an old Indian, so three blind men are walking in a jungle, and they happen
Antidotes.
upon three different things at the same time. And this guy touches on something, says, "This is a tree. Must be a tree." The other guy holds onto something, and it's got a little tassel at the end, and he says, "Oh no, it's a rope." And they both insist that they are correct. The third one comes across this big thing that's flapping around and says, "No, man, it's a massive leaf thing." And obviously, the wise person tells him, "Look here, you're all wrong. It's an elephant. You're just touching elements of it." And the moral of the story is that we all think we have the absolute truth, but we don't actually see, right? So, and then he was elaborating on that, saying that there is a problem with that story because the blind men don't suddenly get to see after that. And why were blind men walking around in the forest? But there's a word
Okay.
that's spelled Umwelt, and it's pronounced Umwelt, but it's basically the experience that you have from your limited perspective. And the reality is that up until you get older, we always have Umwelt. And even if you are super wise and mostly knowing about things, our reality is still skewed because we can't see the elephant for what it is. We only ever see what we see based on our biases on things. So, and the problem with Christianity is that we move far too quickly to absolute truth, and we want certainty about things, and we falsely believe that we do have those things, and therefore conclude that we can see the elephant and help others see the elephant, if you want to put it that way. But the real thing is that we all have the concept of umwelt. We are all not seeing the truth for what it is. Therefore, we are inept at actually helping other people do that. And like,
Mm.
because he was using animals as an example. So the dolphin can hear up to 150,000 hertz, but can't necessarily see so well. Whereas the falcon can see 3 kilometers away. Like a rodent flying 3 kilometers, they can see a rodent down there, but can't necessarily hear as well as the dolphin. But it has limited perspective to reality. It's looking at its reality. That's all it knows, but it doesn't know what the human reality is. Humans also only know what they know because they know what they know. But
I
until
know
you
what you
know
mean.
everything, you can't know something, if you want to put it that way. Like, you
Yeah.
can't say that is the truth because you don't know everything. Until you know everything, you can't emphatically state that that is what it is. That might not be that. And we prove this over our lives as we go get older. That's things we adamantly held on to as the truth is no longer the truth because our world expanded, if you want to put it that way. And like a child, like in River's case, her whole world is whoever you introduce her to. She doesn't know that America exists.
Mm.
We didn't catch that one.
I say
We
hopefully
said,
never.
yeah, but I mean, there'll come a day when she realizes America and like poof,
Mm.
the world just became bigger.
Mm. I think while you were speaking about it, I was thinking that the two aspects, the first that is the most hilarious is why were blind men walking in the forest in the first place. Like it almost feels as if it makes everything, the entire story, null and void. But I think in the metaphor of what they're saying is that we're all blind people walking through a forest, feeling our way through things. And the one thing that I've learned in this specific discussion in Fresh Face is that it's almost as if you are only able to share the truth of which you literally have a hold of. Like they
Yeah.
each grabbed a piece of the elephant, and only by each of them sharing the truth that they have a hold of physically on this elephant, they could, uh, as a collective, maybe discuss what the truth would be, but based on their own experience and opinion. And too often we are trying to describe what we are feeling or holding on to as our perspective of the reality that we see. I mean, if the falcon and the dolphin were to have a conversation, it would be hear no evil, see no evil. It would be the remnants of that movie,
Yeah.
which which is exactly the truth. We all have our disabilities, I guess. But what's the title again of the book? Love.
Love matters more by
think
Love
Jared.
matters more.
I think the more frustrating thing for me is the fact that we want to know or name man. Like, let's take the falcon and the dolphin, whatever. The falcon is just doing what he's doing. He's just flying and then he's hungry.
Hmm.
You know, that 3 kilometer thing comes in handy. In our case, we want to know stuff, man. We want to
Mm.
name. We want to grab. We want to be exploring in the forest and crap like that, man. The other thing is, why didn't the guy in the beginning, man? Why isn't he not going, hey guys, watch out for that elephant? Do you know what I mean? So I think for me, it's well, I can't speak for humans in general, but for me, it's just that, man. Like, why isn't there an explanation, man? You understand?
For what
Must I
now?
then go searching? Hey, say again?
Explanation for?
No, I mean, like, why can't there be like a okay, Tyron, welcome to the world? I think there's a Dr. Seuss book where the baby's about to get born and he gets an explanation about everything. You know what I mean? Well, Dr. Seuss's version of everything. So it would be awesome if there could have been that, man. Or look here, this is all that you do. Trust your instincts, right? So you're the falcon, and you either flying or you're eating, or you're sitting on a high branch, whatever. Like in our case, we're never happy with what we have. We're never happy with what we know. We never, very rarely, because of survival, as in earning whatever, we very rarely trust our instincts. We actually trust what people teach us more than like actually just being a falcon or being a whatever it means to be a human.
Mm,
But doesn't it,
exactly what you're saying.
if we get from the outset whatever there is to know and we know it, it's not going to make life boring.
Not for me.
Well, the thing is, like,
Or to make life
I
a
wrote a blog post about this one thing. I watched, I think it must have been Discovery Channel or something, but it was a fish that lives in a cave somewhere, and then obviously these divers now went and shot a documentary about it. I mean, it's a hideous looking creature,
Mm,
but the creature's not thinking, "Oh, I'm so hideous, I can't
mm,
live with myself." It's just doing what it's
Mm.
doing, and I think sometimes maybe that our because our exploration is not external, we tend to go in on ourselves and then we work against ourselves. And churches are very good at that. I mean, making you look inside instead of no, don't look here, don't look here, look inside. You will be stuck for a long time.
Yeah.
And I mean, don't you think that if you are honest with yourself, the day that you are okay with yourself is the day that your life starts.
mm.
Hopefully, we have all reached there. And I'm not
Yeah.
saying with what you have. I'm saying that you okay with who you are.
Oh,
Yeah. You're content with what you have, how you look, what you don't have, and whatever, man. So sometimes we focus on what we don't have, and we're not happy about it. And sometimes what you don't have is actually your blessing, also, man. So, and compared to that, I've been okay for a while now. I've been okay. If you don't like me, then you don't like me. But I can bring you 10 people that does like me.
But I think that's also an age thing, eh? Because once you reach a
yeah,
certain
I was
age,
gonna say yes.
it's not a conversation that people feel the
Uh,
need to have.
mm, so yeah, but yeah, um, but Tyron, I think that if you get to know whatever there is to know from the outset, hard life boring, this man.
Well,
Don't you think?
I
let's
think it
put
will
it
be.
this way.
I think it will at least give you a heading, man. No, I don't mean somebody must tell you what everything means, but just like
Mm.
where you're concerned and why you're there, man. How much time do we spend in our life trying to
Just,
figure out
just,
why we're here, man?
just think about the times when you had to figure out stuff in your life. Were some of the best times of your life. While you quote on that nonsense.
It's just a waste. I
Well,
think it's
well,
just.
let's be more clear about this
Let
one.
me
So
clear my
let's say
throat
you
right there.
knew from the beginning of your life that you're gonna marry this girl, Charlene. It would be kind of wasteful for you to go around exploring other women, wouldn't it?
I would have just
Exactly.
gone to Charlene first, chucks up. Hey, hello, Charlene. We're gonna be married one day.
And you could have ruined the chances of being with her because you know how women are.
Yeah.
Yeah, plus, the
But that's
whole
what.
traveling back
Yeah.
in time works the same way. You would have messed it up, it would not.
What's
Okay.
the saying? You can either be considered a stalker or the perfect guy, and everything around that is context.
And
I mean,
in the
the
woman's
perfect
interest.
guy will do the weirdest things like stalkers, but because he fits the other things that the woman wants,
Wow.
suddenly he's not a stalker. Let another guy who doesn't fit that criteria come there. He's
And
a
he's a
stalker.
stalker.
He's evil.
Yeah.
Mm.
I
So
hear you guys.
do you
I
do you
guess
hear
we can
us?
all say that, but
Yeah.
there are a few things that I wish that I would have known faster. I think maybe it's just that.
Is it like
I don't
what?
like wasting
Name
time.
one. Name one.
Hmm.
Hmm.
Hmm. Name one.
Maybe money
It's gonna be a
and,
bit too
maybe
airing his dirty laundry.
as too personal.
Okay, stop.
Oh
Stop
my lord! I'm
recording.
checking now. What can I say that
No,
I can
that is
say?
what it is. As much as
No.
I can help there. I have no problems going into my past. Um, there is a positive to having taken all the drugs that I've taken in my life.
Light shade.
Okay.
In that there's probably an aspect to life that I look at that normal people don't.
Mm.
But at the same time, it removed things from my life that other people have as normal that I wish I had.
Mm.
Like the ability to connect with people properly, the ability to sort of not know how things will work out, man.
Okay.
Um,
I can teach you that.
it's
Good at that.
the
I'm
what do you call
great
it?
at
The
that.
naivety of exploring because I've explored on that plane of things. I now know things I should not know already, man.
Hmm.
And I never quite fit in with people my own age.
Mm.
Yeah.
So
I
I, I
But
almost want to
what
say
do you?
that's a generational perspective because somewhere along the last. Okay, go on, Tyron.
No, no, no. I want you to
Let me
to
finish
say.
the point.
Mm.
Somewhere along the line, experience is the thing that you feel that you passed down, and
mm,
especially having, I almost want to say, holistic perspective to see what
mm,
is missing that you actually desired in someone else's life, or that they're living as a norm, which they don't even consider a norm, and they don't consider a life with an experience of drugs, and or that would change their perspective or anything like that. And if we must bring anything into perspective like that, the psychotropic, what do they call it? The
Psychotropic.
yeah, treatments, psychological treatments, trials, and legalization of it is evidence that there are people out there that are suffering with things that seem like norms, but they actually need to take drugs in order to amend it, to change their perspective of life itself. So to sit and have that holistic view is, I almost want to say, the best perspective that you can have in traveling through life, with a view and wisdom to know what you don't have, than to go and just be naive, like you were saying.
But now it's
Sorry, but
the
there's a very big joke I have there about that one. I mean, imagine if we could come up with an anti-colored poll, man. Like, like if you take this poll, suddenly you will see life for what it is. Your
called the
umwelt
gospel.
will expand.
It's called the gospel.
Uh, uh,
Try it, man. Try it. Colored
but
Yeah.
people.
I don't know. Okay, obviously, you will be able to better explain your experiences, but don't you think like do you like for sure it's that like it's definitely the drugs like or is it
Yep, no, but look,
Oh,
let me explain
it's
a
a
I
bit
mean
vice.
more
or the
about that.
experiences you had with the
No,
drugs or what do you?
it's the addiction behind it. So when you're an addict and you come and you want to deal with it, you have to be a lot more harder on yourself than anybody else would.
Oh, okay.
So
Mm.
when you pivot to the extremes of things. So and then you'll find some balance in life in the future. But so for me, when I came to Christ, it was give up cigarettes, alcohol, ecstasy, acid, dacha, all of them at once, just done.
Woman. I forgot
Then you
woman.
have to now realize months later, wait a minute. Yes, the physical stuff is gone, but you're still relating like an addict.
mm,
And then you must now sort of study addiction and you realize addiction is basically idolatry. Then you must now find coping mechanisms to be able to live a normal life. And we cling to things because when you're drowning, you'll hang on to anything that will keep you afloat. This will be anything else that you get addicted to: food, buying Christian books, people, whatever. And
listening, listening to the other colored people, thinking that they know everything.
well, I learned very soon that the other colored people don't know what they're talking about. So I resorted to reading books.
Okay.
Um, but no one ever knew. I mean, I think when I ended up in a place called Truth Transforms, where they actually deal, I don't know what specifically, but there's a male and a female group, and they deal with sexual, what do you call it? Like the extremes of sexual history, if you want to put it that way.
Mm.
Okay.
So
Mm.
in their mind, they can fix you from being gay.
Boredom. Boredom.
I'm not saying that I believe gay to be wrong, but I mean, that was their stance. But they did have a very good matrix for explaining that your sexual affiliation is proportional, directly proportional to who you worship.
Yeah.
And there's a truth behind that. Um, obviously, you don't take everything that they say, but they were a bit very clinical and they were anti-emotional experience. So you cannot have worship music and stuff like that involved. You must make everything clinical. And some there was some good in that, but because I also got tired of going up for every altar call because I felt I had every quality under the sun.
Mm.
Oh, you one of those ones.
Used to be. I've
I
done
was also one of
everything.
those kids.
I've
I was
been
also one of those kids.
counseled by every pastor you can think of. I am now subsequently in therapy with a
Professional.
proper therapist
Yeah.
that Discovery pays. But I mean,
Okay.
I keep her around because she's the one person that can just say,
Maybe because he's a
uh
she.
yeah, I tend to open up better with women than I would with men.
Me too.
And there's enough
Opening up
age
your heart.
difference and,
Huh?
what do you call it? Societal difference between us.
Okay. She's of the
Um
Caucasian
and
background.
Afrikaans and
Okay. When you say there's a societal background, it tends to say that they white.
no, but you must remember that I only came across her because I was hanging out with white people.
Is it?
This is one of my, I wouldn't say an ex-girlfriend, but an ex whatever.
Oh, I don't have
You say
ex-girlfriends.
ex vibe. She was a vibe.
Yeah, I don't know. It's like looking back, I probably just was not ready for that. And she had other issues.
Okay. I
Talking
get it.
about the
I,
girl who referred you, not your actual therapist, obviously.
Who referred me there? Yeah, she referred me there.
Oh, I thought you were talking
no,
about your therapist. Like, okay.
Well, the therapist still can't believe that I didn't go for either.
Oh, okay.
Mm.
okay.
But anyway.
You guys know how I feel about psychology.
How
But
do you feel? No,
have you watched
No,
how do you feel?
Taran, say
have you watched
Say.
Billions? Have you watched Billions?
I need a couple of
Billions.
yes.
billions.
Hmm?
Yeah. I've watched it. Yeah, up
So
until
now
Mm-hmm.
season 3.
you see how key the psychologist is in there.
Mm.
Yes.
Yeah, I think everybody needs somebody to talk. And my thing is, what I realized soon early in life in the Christian walk is that we tend to hit trouble without equalizing our friendships. So
Mm,
our friends don't know where we are. When we hit trouble, you don't have the capacity to translate all that information to them at once.
okay.
So when
Mm.
they're making their comments about you must pray about this and whatever, you just want to slap them because they haven't walked with you. And that's why I keep a
Yeah.
paid person around because they know my life. When shit happens and I sit there, I don't have to fucking sit there and explain my whole life to get to the point so you understand the context of something.
Mm.
Mm,
And certain things she doesn't know about, which I always used to think psychology is a waste of time because I cannot think her thoughts or their thoughts. And I can to a degree, but
Mm.
there's just certain things that she will slow me down on that I will just think is unimportant. Women tend to do that in life.
don't know what is your take on psychology, Mr. Marinas?
Man, do not go there now.
No, let's
Nah,
go there.
Yeah,
my
it's gonna
question,
sound like
my
a
questions.
rebuttal to Linny.
You see, Jeremy,
No. I've said it
Tyrone
before.
doesn't like being put on
The
the
spot.
spot.
I don't. Yeah. I've said it
Speak,
before.
Darren.
Yeah.
Speak.
I've said it before. As like I like in
No,
my
you didn't
case,
say it.
I just
You didn't
wanna.
say it
I have an issue.
when I was here.
You were, yeah.
No,
Anyway,
no.
I'll share it again. My issue is with the, and this is not to every therapist. I guess I haven't been spoken to everyone, but all the
So you've spoken to a couple of.
psychological studied people that I know, the learned psychologists that I know,
Uh-huh.
they've all got this predetermined things of how you have to be, based on the information they have, man. Which I guess is a skill in what they get taught. However, the theories that they base you on is other people, man. And
Mm,
unfortunately, as much as humans are similar, we are still all unique. And I've come across hundreds of psychologists in my lifetime, and they all go, "Oh, you this? Okay, no, I hear you. You are like that, and this guy's like this, and that guy's like that." And then I ask, "How do you get to that?" No, you see, he said this, and that, and those are indicators of this, and that. Which I
mm.
go, okay, cool. That could be possibly through
Yeah.
5 to 6 out of 10 times, but what if that guy's the other four, man? You
Mm.
understand? So I guess it's good to
No.
share. But am I gonna trust someone that's gonna go that could possibly be wrong? I don't know. obviously, if I decide to pay the person, I'm gonna go. But
But now,
that's my issue with psychology, man. It's all theory.
of what does that remind you?
That's why him and Adele get along so swell.
But I don't think it
That's
would.
why I say I don't know.
I don't think it would be
I don't say it's
difficult
not
to get
helpful,
along
man.
with her.
Yeah, no.
Oh, trust me,
I
you
must
must
think with
watch the
this
two
head,
of
man.
them.
I think
Huh?
with this head.
You must
Huh?
watch
It's
the
easy
two
for
of
me to
them
get
go at
along.
each other.
I think with this head. I don't think with other heads.
No, I'm just
Yeah,
saying.
right.
Yes,
Word,
Now, sorry. Now in my life, I think with this head. I should qualify
I
that.
I
But like I
still
said, I don't say it can't be. I don't say it's not helpful. Even like with these encounters that churches have, like it could be helpful, man. But it's not to say it's a method for everyone, and that's what I think psychologists may be a little more honest than Christianity. They will go, look, if you do the work and it fits and it helps, fine. If not, walk away.
clarify.
Where
Yeah,
Christianity goes, these are the rules for everyone. The 7 steps of this and the 5 steps of that.
that's why I asked you to of what does psychologist or your experience of psychology remind you of, and that is
Yeah,
certain
but
pastors.
now we're back at the elephant and the blind guys. Do you know what I mean? It's just that or so.
Mm.
Do psychology or psychologists promote love? Does love matter? Or love matters?
I don't know.
when I hear that word, I cringe. I cringe when I hear that word love.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. So you are like, okay, I know personally, I know about 20 psychologists, right? Like
Yeah.
that studied and are done studying, right? Then I
When
know,
the day that I met Charlene, I could see that you need psychologists, but I didn't know that you're gonna need 20. I didn't know you're gonna
no,
need
I just
20.
because there was I don't know if you guys experienced it, but there was a time where everybody studied psychology,
Sharp,
right?
Jeremy, sharp.
And in that times when I started gigging, so all the college students that time used to hang out in bars and stuff, whatever. So we all
Okay.
just became friends as time went on. But and most of the like, for me, I've seen a divide. Like let's say with the 20 I know personally, and some of them are extremely like scientific, man. Look here,
Mm.
it's all chemicals and your genetics, your environment, right? So those people they don't so much put an emphasis on love as you need it in all aspects, right? They'll say you need a
Okay.
mother's love, that parental love, you need whatever. Then you get the other side, they are like fully emotional. Everything is environment, strictly.
Okay.
Nat- Sorry, the one will be nature and the other one nurture. You understand?
Yeah.
So based on, let's say, I maybe need more love than you do, Daryl. And the other
Yeah.
half will say, no, we all need the same amount of love to survive. So that's how they see love. It's emotional and chemical. The Christian thing, that is a overemphasis on love. Like love as a abstract, metaphorical thing of God is love. Okay.
God is love, yeah.
So you
Yeah.
have to be love. Love is inside of you. And there's also this prerequisite of love looks like this. And therein lies the issue. You know
Mm.
what I mean? Because
Yeah,
the
But
completely.
but
yeah.
on that point, I mean, so when I was still with the Shofarites, obviously there were a few psychologists
Like,
in the
woo.
With
circle.
a whoop.
The shofar
Shofar,
and nights.
Shofarites.
Okay. I That's probably a
Say-
pre-Jeremy joke. Bring me into context there.
no,
Shofar
no, that
Church, man.
sounds biblical. Biblical.
Uh,
That,
You know
that's
Shofar
it. That's
Church.
I know what the shofar is.
No, man, there's a church called Shofar.
No.
beautiful.
So
That
how
that
far
is
is it?
it. This is exactly my point to show for themselves. They have been around for 30 years, and the large part of the Africa doesn't know they exist. And they got 75 churches worldwide.
Wow.
They are not a small
Mm.
entity,
They
but
so
they
far
are 99.9% Afrikaans white. And that's the
Oh.
problem.
they so far off the track, eh?
Mm,
They shofar.
Anyway, so there was
Super.
there was like I would call it not just after the honeymoon period of a church. There was a sweet spot in Shofar where there was a bunch of us, everybody same age, all young
Mm.
professionals, a mixture of single people before people got married and stuff. And there was this one girl, Monique,
Mm.
psychologist, but she
Okay.
worked for the Navy, whatever. But what I found unique about her is that she could be like, we spent a lot of time together. I mean, not dating. We hung out a lot because we connected. But she could be vulnerable and all the things and be a psychologist, and she didn't psychoanalyze our time.
Mm.
Because when she met me, she recognized you seem to know about life. So
Mm.
it's okay, man. We are equals. And she could switch off that side, and that was her work.
Okay.
But it was very funny to watch her meet somebody and marry that person, because when you met her father, I mean, down to the fucking messed up teeth, she chose a guy exactly like him. And I'm like, geez, like, you didn't even try, man.
Mm.
Mm.
She lives in the Netherlands now.
With a guy.
With the guy with
Yeah,
the
they married and probably have
Oh,
children and everything.
it's not bad for a guy with messed up teeth.
Probably citizens there already. The
Yeah, well, she lived in northern suburbs, deep in Durbanville. Um, but I mean, damn, you in silent mode there.
I say Netherlands probably the same like Durbanville.
Are you
Probably not
using that
much different.
that roadcaster thing?
No, I'm using the Focusrite, but I'm using a different cable, a different channel. So if it's still wonky after today, then I'm just gonna swap it out.
No,
with
man, I think that you've got like a noise setting or something on Zoom, so that if
Let's
you move
check
away from the
Zoom.
mic, it just.
okay.
Or maybe it's just a great dynamic mark, you know. Advanced. Oh,
But
it's
I
on
mean,
auto.
there was another therapist chickie there who we did not get along.
Because
Mm.
Because she looked like she was psychoanalyzing everything you do, and we just
Um,
avoided.
I'm starting to think that there's something wrong with me. The
Why?
fact that I have never seen a therapist.
But I mean, for me, I like talking to people about things, and I mean, if it honestly, if I were physically paying for it, I wouldn't. But Discovery pays for it.
okay.
Okay.
That's the second fund for Discovery, and they are not the sponsor of
Yeah,
Fresh Space. And if
Discovery is
you're
my
tuning in now,
best.
we're talking about psychology and the love thereof, and hate there is of that.
No,
I just
yeah,
wanted to add
I didn't say
about
hate, but anyway, I was just saying
um,
I've got my questions.
and that is what I was going to say. The only way that they really do their job is by asking questions. There's no way for them to do an autopsy of the brain or to
Mm.
scan your thoughts or to understand what you're thinking. They generally need to tap into you via questions, and like Lenny was saying, you can manipulate the information. But where they do play an effective role is that I think Jeremy, you were highlighting pastors are similar to psychologists, but
Not pastors, some,
Mm.
some some pastors.
some, some, some.
So without generalizing, they play an important role in the friendship they that you pay for, to actually
Mm.
have someone around that you can have a conversation. I think it was, I mean, if there was ever a case made for a therapist, let me probably made it with the fact that there's someone that you can download your life to and tap into, and then just talk it out. And often in life, we meet one another and we have like a, a preset to who this person is based on the life
Mm.
and friendship that we have with him, and we can't be unbiased, and we overshare and overcomplicate their life, and all we needed to do was ask questions and listen. And if they had paid us to do that, we'd probably be better friends to everybody, you know.
I just think
Well,
that if we draw the comparison between the two people as friends or people you can pour your life to, the the professional, the one that's get paid by the some medical aids, They are professional and they're bound by ethics and they're bound by certain stuff, rules. So they go, you sign the document, they get paid. And if they see you tomorrow in the street, they're not going to look at you and acknowledge you as, oh, that's my patient. And sometimes, but they, in deep down, they say, I've been professional enough and I have done what I am required to do. But whereas the some pastor comes in, he comes in with ulterior motives, man. And now you talk to him and you speak to him, and then he uses that same stuff that you have given to him, and he start use it against you, or use it off stage, and then it just works to your detriment, man. So that is how I feel. I will never ever speak to a pastor and say this is what I'm experiencing in my life. And I would rather go to a friend. I'll go to Tyron and say, Tyron, ek sukkel met die, ek sukkel met die. Lindy, can you advise me or
Go to
whatever?
Lindley or Daryl.
Because Lindy to a certain extent, and Daryl and you would come. You know what? I can't share this with everybody, and I can't use it for myself or against other people or whatever. But whereas the pastor, jy gaan toe as jy nou kom nou sê, ja, die pastor ek sukkel met geld, man, ek het financial issues. Nou sê, okay, jy is saam met Lindley, saam met Tyrant en Daryl. Hulle het dieselfde, julle al vier sukkel seker. Sunday we have a series on money.
Or I tell you should sow a seed.
Yeah. So and so when push comes to shove, and you have issues that needs professional assistance, then I would say go to the guy that is bound by ethics. I mean, these people sit semesters on on a topic called ethics, and they are bound by that. Whereas your Russells and your Neils and your Theos and those type of people, there's no ethical hair on their head. You understand?
But
So
my thing, I would take it a step further. I agree with that.
Take it. I will go with you.
But you know what game theory is?
Yeah. No, elaborate.
So once again, game theory is applied to something like the monetary system. So in Bitcoin, game theory is what runs the network. Is that enemies can run in the same network, but even enemies require fairness and honesty. Even amongst drug dealers, they're going to demand fairness if everybody can see it. The game of Monopoly. There's no banker. Everybody's the banker, because as soon as you see someone take money they shouldn't, you're going to rectify them.
Yeah.
So for me, that's why people in church, whenever they say, look, they're not paying me for this. But ultimately what it comes down to is the person that I'm paying for is going to fight for my work.
Yeah.
And they're going to be more honest with me, because I have a choice. There's 1,000 other therapists out there that I can go see.
Yeah.
You're paying top dollar, so it's up. They must prove to them, and that's when I sat down first time in therapy. This is my situation. Sell me your side.
Switch it like an interview. Why should I choose you? What makes you good?
And
maybe,
maybe
then they whip out the stats. No, you are
but
this kind of
maybe
person
in
because you
Tyrone's
came in
case,
and asked me.
you met, what do you call it? What do you call it?
The default. I almost want to say the default of psychology.
Burgeoning therapists. That's the word. They weren't fully fledged.
Emerging.
They didn't have experience. And
Yeah.
and the worst thing about a 20-year-old to a 40-year-old is that a 20-year-old is trying to prove themselves versus the 40-year-old who's seasoned.
I will agree with you on that. Yeah.
And that's life. So and that's why I always find your brother hilarious. He's extremely theoretical about things. And I'm like, you're speaking to somebody who's been through everything you speak about, who's actually done it. Like, I messed up in life, yes, but I did it, man.
Yeah.
You have never, and you want to help people who did mess up
Mm.
theoretically.
Yeah.
So you're treating people as if they're the experiments, and people find that offensive very quickly.
Yeah. That's why I want to mess up a bit more, man, so I can help people later.
Yeah.
Mm. Mm.
No, but it's
Mm.
true. It's true. It's true. Now imagine living with him for 20 years.
But if that was your experience of therapist, that's the wrong type of therapist.
No, it was young people. Yeah, it was people who just finished studying and that. So now they analyze everybody who come in the company. That's why I say you hit the nail on the head. They're not like well practiced. Seen maybe a
Mm.
thousand patients, made mistakes, fixed mistakes, whatever.
Yeah,
That's why I
it's
said I'm
the
not
same
like
with any career, like musicians also. When they come out, they must.
uh,
And
no,
then 20 years down the line, they just play dun,
uh,
dun, and then they make 50K.
and everybody's like, why? Yeah, no,
He's
but it's
so
true.
brilliant at playing dun, and he's like, hey, behind that dun is a lot of.
Yeah, no, it's true. It's true. So yeah, that's why I keep saying like I'm not like against the whole concept. I'm just like I have an irritation with people like that. But maybe you help me frame it now. Maybe it's just the younger ones that try to do that. The professional
Yeah.
ones will obviously try and get you to come to a session. The smart ones will say, you know, I know what your problem is, but it's gonna cost
Mm.
you so much. It's gonna cost you
But
so much.
yeah,
See you on Wednesday.
but you
So
also
yeah,
need to we also need to flip it and think about the patients that walk in there. Not everybody's going to be Lindley or Tyrone or Jeremy or Daryl walking in there. I mean, there's a few
yeah,
people that are dealing with some really, really heavy issues. And let's take it's Women's Month, and I was going to just add to Jeremy that some pastors are female as well. And some people can be dealing with,
Illegal.
PTSD. um, and not just the addiction that we were highlighting earlier, like Lily was sharing with us, but there's rape issues, there's abuse issues, there's a variety of issues where they just need to be an ear and then maybe just practice empathy or emotional intelligence to deal with that person for that hypothetical hour, as we used to hearing psychologists say. It's not as easy as just putting people into squares and color coding them.
no, I do know quite a few people who's benefited from going to a therapist and being able to share and help someone with a what is it objective no perspective to help just frame what's happening to you.
Navigate.
Yeah, those kind of things. As I say, I'm not against therapy. My issue is the, and I should add this
So,
word, young
yeah.
and budding psychologists, or the people who's read about psychology. I don't know if you've encountered those people. You know, I've done a lot of studies on psychology. Like, okay,
Mm.
okay,
But I'm not actually one.
but it's helpful. Yeah, that whole vibe.
So like it's like
Well,
some of your pastors, man. I've read the Bible 3 times.
Oh yeah,
I know a
and
lot
yet you're
about
still an
God.
idiot.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
But nothing, and you're still getting it wrong, brother. After
You
your
know,
3 times.
I
You
know a
have to
lot
read it
about
backwards
God,
slowly.
Uh,
but I don't know God.
but it's such
But
a
they wouldn't
taboo in
admit to it.
the.
Hmm?
But even just the whole therapy thing is such a taboo within the church construct. Like, let's say you
Have
do go
you?
for counseling and your pastor figures out this is out of his depth. What is the first thing he says? It must be demonic or
Mm,
generational or whatever. Instead of like, okay, cool, I think you need a professional. Do you know what I mean?
yeah.
And find someone that's gonna help this person as opposed to trying to grab at straws. You know, you know what I mean? It's like, if it's not that, then it's this. If it's not that, then it's this. You know what I
Yeah,
mean?
but
Even
now,
if maybe a psychologist will do that, but
Um,
why would they say that? Um, um, it's demonic because they can't find it. The problem is because they want you to come back for more.
yeah, no, obviously. But it's in
You
any
know.
well,
profession like that. Even the Reiki or whatever other
Mm,
heal is besides Christianity, they all do the same thing, man.
They want you to come
Instead
back
of
for
them,
more.
yeah, instead of them going, this is a clinical issue, or this is a something that maybe someone who studied 4 or 5 years to do it, maybe they can help. Now they go, oh no, it's the chakras and the mantras. You must just go and burn some. What is that? Go burn some
Uh,
myrrh in your house and some
Myang stokjes.
sage. Sage. That's what I'm looking for. Go burn some sage. You know what I mean? As opposed to just like being practical about it. From what I hear, Lindy saying and the other people that's out, therapists or psychologists that you see professionally are a lot more practical in their um, diagnosis. I'd say
Mm.
they're not so. Can you say airy flairy? I don't want to offend any spiritual healers.
But look, the same thing is with game theory as well. It's like if your income is dependent on this person being broken, why would you fix them?
Hmm.
And if your premise of your entity is premised on people not seeking the truth for themselves, why would you give them the truth?
Mm.
Hashtag doctors, GPs.
And look, I mean, I have medical doctors, and Shaufa's been very good for me to sort of explore the mind of people in a friendship environment because they were medical doctors that you could not just sit and talk to. And my question to them is, why can there not be a set point in a human life that they just do a full MRI, everything, and catch anything? And they say, no, but why would we? I'm like, because it would be preventative and you deal. And why would we do that?
Are
So
we gonna
a
put the
lot of the medical industry is on preventative, not preventative, symptomatic reaction to something rather than catching it beforehand. Because they always say, fortunately, we caught it early. Well, you could have gotten it much earlier if you just had a set point of testing everything.
Yeah.
Yeah, but a lot of these stuff are geared to making money by the person, man. You understand, and that is then again my opinion. So if you go to a service provider, they will tell you, you know what, it's good that you came to me. It's gonna take 8 sessions of 1,000 rand each. You understand? Like if somebody comes in and says, okay, my child has a learning disability. As jy daai child gedonder het toe hy 2 jaar oud was, as hulle child nie 'n learning disability het nie. You know? Now they use chemicals to cover up the bad parenting. You understand? So toe ons vir ons maas gesê dat ons kan nie leer nie, toe ons maas vir ons geklap met goedes en ons het matriek klaar gemaak, verstaan hè? But these days, there's like, okay, no, fine. I think I should send him to a therapist. It's like you're pausing on something, man. So I don't want to deal with this now and let him handle it, and I'll rather pay him to
Yeah.
do it. You understand? And it's not my problem anymore. My child is being taken care of, and okay, let's treat him so. Let's treat him so because he is now special, or he is now this and he's now that. So yes, there are people. There are people that do need it. I could understand that, and there's people who was helped by it and is being helped by it, but there are also people that is performing themselves by going there. So who is the genuine ones and who is the ones that performing themselves? I don't know. You understand? I don't know. Only time will tell. If you see the benefit of a person that goes there and then you can see now, but this person has really changed, then you know that that was a genuine thing. But if you see a person that is going, I'm alright, going, I'm alright, going, I'm alright, in and out like a guy that goes in and out of a drug rehab, you understand? He's never healed. Now he's performing himself. So, but then again, that is my opinion. So yes, it happens and it's needed, and it has its good results. It has its
Yeah.
good results, but it also has its manipulators as well.
The
I
industry.
want to come to that
In
point
every
of,
industry, it's like that.
yeah, the point of manipulation is always going to be dependent on your ability to discern whether information given to you is factual and actually useful.
Yeah.
A friend of mine shared with me that her children are a Curo and they have a psychologist on hand on
Yeah.
staff that deal with the parents as well as the children. This is now before the epidemic hit. And one of the
Mm.
aspects that this therapist shared with her was that she needs to keep a child back a year in order
Okay.
for the child to grow socially.
Mm.
Academically, the child was doing well, but then started to drop because of the social requirements. And I'm used to, I'm sure all of us grew up in a generation of guidance teachers teaching you how to do
Yeah.
whatever guidance teachers teach you, you know. But she was saying that it was so informative that the psychologist framed the social development of a child and explained that when your child graduates or matriculates at 17, which used to be,
Mm.
and coming back to the racial aspect, it used to be, like it's almost profound and in the colored community, if you could matriculate before 18, you didn't
Mm.
miss a year. You're not and there's this almost this um I don't want to call it gutter education, but where we would just put children over into the next grade
Mm.
because of the academics attached to it without the sociology and development. And coming back to the therapist, he was just saying that we take sometimes information and just apply it bluntly because that is the status quo. She
Mm.
didn't initially keep a child back, but after discussion with the therapist and the child's decision was, look, maybe a year back would help me. And it did. The child's exceeding now in the social aspects of what they needed to do, as well as
Okay.
Yeah, and you like
so.
you can't also like sorry, just before you go on, you can't also be under this assumption that you're going to a therapist because something's wrong all the time. Man. Do you know what I mean?
Mm.
Sometimes, like we were saying earlier, on, it's just another perspective, an an outside person that has a framework or context of what you've told them before, and they help you make decisions, or they can make your life easier. It's not so much that there's something wrong that needs to be fixed all the time. You know what I mean?
Mm.
Yeah, and the part that I wanted to finish was that so the child developed a relationship with the therapist in that the therapist became a navigator through that forest where the child is generally blindfolded to the society of things. And I think that's all that we as friends and therapists can be to one another. It's just simple thought board navigators. And if you have experience in something like Lenny was sharing in having failed, you can navigate better, but it doesn't
Mm.
necessarily mean that the person must accept what you're saying. I mean, whether you're paying them or not. And past this as well, Jeremy. I just wanted to say by default, it's easier to have a supernatural answer than a clinical one.
Yeah, because especially if you know that 50% of the people that you're answering is going to listen or is going to take that supernatural answer, knowing that the word supernatural doesn't even exist in the writings that they profess that they know so well. So if somebody comes to me with a metaphysical answer or what, then I just look at them and then I laugh. I would rather let somebody say, you know what, I can't help you, man. This is out of my bounds. Now they come with a jump 3 times on the left leg and scratch your back with the right arm and throw in 1,000 rand and then you will be healed.
And a can of doom.
So rather go and say, you know what, I can't answer you here, man. And I think we should go together and rather come with me to the therapist and then you can learn something that you maybe can apply later on. So yeah, it is easier to give the supernatural answer. You know
But
what? I think we
how
hmm?
supernatural is the answer of love, and the reason why I'm bringing it back is because that was the book we were talking about. But one of the aspects I think that love is that it's consistent, and I mean I don't know how long do you have the therapist now, Lindy? You were saying since you have discovery.
since 2015.
Sure,
So,
Discovery Metallica.
so I mean, roughly you've had someone in your
No,
life for
let's
5
not
years.
mistake that I pay Discovery. Eh? It's just this gets taken out of the portion that I would never see. Anyway,
Oh, okay.
Here's my
And
question
yet,
though: would you then be switching therapists, or is it
Mhm.
because it's a therapist that like you brought Heide into question and how you were referred? I just want to say it's because it's a relational thing, and like love is that relational thing. I'm not saying that the therapist loves you, but the consistency of love is that they're always there. You're paying them, you show up unless they're sick or
well,
COVID-19 and
now
dead,
we do sessions via Zoom.
and consistently. And friends are inconsistent.
No, some friends are. Some
Yeah.
friends.
Also, it's
Shade.
also based on your expectation of those friends. You know what friend you can phone in what situation, man.
yeah, and you
You know what I
and
mean?
yeah, and you know what, and you know in what situations you phone a male friend and what situations you phone a female
Yeah. Depends
In
what
what
kind
situations
of
do you call a female friend, Jeremy?
friend. Huh?
In what situations
depends
do you
what
call a
kind
female
of
friend?
psychology.
Less is more.
Depends on the psychology for which head.
Must she have less on?
Less is
Less.
Talking about Cecilia.
Someone's surname is less.
That's what I was saying. He's
more.
talking about Cecilia.
Less is more.
No, but also just what you were asking there, like also based on your perspective of love. Like it's clear that consistency is an important thing for you where love is concerned. Where for the next person that might
in
not be part of it.
receiving, in receiving
Yeah, no,
love for
obviously,
him, not
yeah.
giving.
Do you know what I mean? And I'm not for maybe let's use. Uh, that's why I didn't want it to be pointed at you. That I was just using what you were saying, but yeah, like
Hey man, it is what it
just
Mhm.
that's how it turned out now. Yeah. You know what I
is.
mean? So like if you've got a list of 10 things of what a person who loves you or what love looks like to you, and that person meets 5 out of 10, does that person love you less? Can you let go of those 5 things or what? You know what I mean? So like it boils down to each person's expectation of what love is. Is love actually a service to you or what gets done to you? Is it something you feel? Is it actionary? There was a book on this, no? The
5 love
languages.
languages.
Mm.
So it's that thing, man. So you've got to
Hey,
decide what it looks
the
like to you.
psychologist.
You see, a psychologist sat down and the
Mm.
reason and look, obviously for different people, there's different things. Like uh, I know discrepancies in someone saying, we love you, but in practice,
Mm.
and I always used to say, like, even at Artscape, they say, no, we appreciate. I said, no, don't say that words, man, because you don't appreciate us.
Mm.
What arrives in my bank account expresses that you don't appreciate us because it's not the same that arrives in that person's bank account.
Mm.
So you appreciate him
Um,
more.
so don't say words that don't mean anything, man. Like, let's be honest about it. We're adult enough to know that is what you're paying us. That's what you think of us. But don't use words extra to the reality.
Yeah,
Unless they
but I
say,
think they
we
use.
appreciate that you are happy with taking so little for doing so much. That would be a
No,
more
I
accurate.
let them know I
That
wasn't happy. And ultimately, it ended up in me walking out and
Mm,
whatever. I mean, no loss to them.
yeah.
Or a big
Well,
loss to
mm,
them because they never quite recovered.
uh, so yeah. But I
Yeah.
mean,
uh,
like
it's
in
all,
my
it's all
case,
cookies and cream
for
now.
many years, it was just
Yeah.
like, okay, God is love. There's this verse in the Bible that says love is. So God is that, and you were made in His image, and you've got to be like that. And for a good, nice, long time, it was actually awesome. But then when you start to not live up to those things, then this condemnation, this guilt, this like breaking yourself down starts
No.
to step
I
in.
think what you're saying, it was awesome when you were the recipient.
No, I was nailing it until I wasn't like.
No,
You know what I mean?
you
Not the
no, you were the
recipient.
recipient, receiving.
No,
That's
I was the, I was, that's what I'm saying. I was living up to my own standard of what I thought love was. And then once I started to
What
change
was
as a
your standard?
person,
Because
patience, kind, don't seek my own, those that vibe. That is how I saw love like, and it was
and
easy
what
to
was
do
your
until I grew
what?
up and I had to make hard decisions, and then you realize you can't please everyone.
So what was the response on the person you were doling this awesome love on?
She married me, and
No, no,
now
no,
it's
no.
too late.
Let's be honest about it, because
I am. I am.
like to the person who's accepting of all things, to the other person, they're not necessarily seeing it that way.
Yeah, but I'm
Yeah.
saying, but for me, because let's say my definition of it, right, was for me like, because I'm not seeking my own. I don't care what's coming back.
Hmm.
All that matters to me is what I'm giving. Do you understand what I mean? So it was awesome for the other person, but as life changes, you have to make sometimes harder decisions, and then you can't live by that 5, 10 things. Like you can obviously, I still try, but luckily for me, I've got an understanding partner. She was like, no, it was awesome when you could, but when you can't, you can't. Because that wasn't me trying to be myself. That was me trying to live up to this thing that I thought I had to be. But like I say, you grow up and you go, maybe those things are just something a guy said, man. And then somebody wrote it down. Do you know what I'm saying? Maybe it's not
Mm.
like these are the rules of what love looks like. Although it is a great reference and it makes relationships a lot easier.
But the problem is that some people pull it from the environment. So and yeah, we'll go into the, maybe it's in the colored curse. I don't know. One day we'll get
Have you not? Have you not read the
signed
book?
copy there.
Have you not read
But
it yet, Lenny?
You can get the PDF.
Yeah.
but I
Bye.
It's
mean, like if you look at the average colored woman,
Mm.
so now they meet someone like me who doesn't, can I say, sit there and give them their every want and sit and listen to their problems, and I'm just like, no, man. And like, is marriage a goal in life? Um, and I mean, like, we all, maybe Daryl knows more about Biddle than anyone, but at the time that I was with Biddle, we were both seeing therapists, and she could never understand how I enjoyed the experience. I'm like, but only a person who is lying to themselves would hate it,
Mhm.
because
Mm.
she'd have to go sit there and sort of get through this therapy thing. So, well, you are lying to yourself then. You're not wanting
Mm.
help. You know you need help, but you're not wanting it, and you
Yeah.
clearly don't want to change. So
Mm.
I can understand why it's torture.
Yeah.
And that's by choice. She was going by choice. Because there is
And
times when you are
paying.
allocated.
And paying also.
Where it's
Mm.
court ordered to go see a therapist because.
No, but I think between the four of us, we know very well that thing of I know what needs to be done and I'm gonna kind of do it, but not the hard parts. You know what I mean? The difficult parts. That's where the honesty of do I really want to do this comes in. Like let's say, unfortunately, we use this example all the time. Let's say the church. The person knows that they need God in their lives. They know that they need to not sin, whatever their definition of it is. Um, so okay, I'm gonna at least go to church on. I'm gonna at least go to church on a Sunday, and I'm gonna do as much of the rules as I can. But when you really look at it, do they really want a life with
mm,
God, or are they just trying to stay out of hell, or whatever? Those kind of things. So I think it's maybe the same with what she was going through, or what we all go through. It's like I know these are the 5 things that I'd like to accomplish. Okay, I'm gonna do this 100%, and I'm gonna half-ass this one, and I'm gonna half-ass that one. And I think I don't know if it was Lindley or Daryl that's mentioned one day we mustn't confuse accomplishment with the something, and we mustn't confuse doing the thing with achieving the thing.
Mm. Yeah, let me sit that.
What? But what was the
It's
what was
like
the
it's like
saying?
we
Activity. Oh, you
yeah.
mustn't confuse activity and accomplishment. So it's that thing.
Mm.
It's like I am going to the therapy. I'm going to therapy. I'm going to church, but I don't really achieve anything. I'm just there, man.
mm.
I'm an active church member.
Yeah, but I
Now,
mean,
what is an now what is a definition of an inactive church member?
me, I'm
Backslider.
I'm still on the books by a lot of churches. I just don't go. I don't pay. But
Status
I get
inactive.
my birthday. I get my birthday SMS. I get my birthday emails. I get my please go and check the message on church on the phone. The Sunday's message. I get all of that. The announcement emails, which tells me they still got me on their list.
I always wanted to know what is an active church member. Active in what?
Yeah. People who help serve my purpose and people who don't help serve my purpose. And
Okay,
none.
so it's about you.
Yeah. Let's say like I'm I'm a pastor, even a soccer member, a soccer
Mm,
team owner, whatever. There's
mm,
players that are active that play the game, and there's
mm.
players that just come into practice.
Okay.
They still paying subs. They still paying for the game. They're just not gonna play. So it's that man.
uh, well, it's
I
not
don't
for
know
a
if you
will
guys have seen those
of
dudes.
not wanting.
Even in
Yeah,
practice,
but
they there
it's not
first.
like the
They do all the
yeah.
drills. They can do all the drills, but we're never gonna put them in the game.
Mm, mm.
Somehow they always end up being water boys and serving. So but it's
Still
true.
serving the purpose, I guess.
Yeah,
But
definitely. And
mm.
sorry, continue.
Look, I know this is one of those cliche things, but there's a very different thing that happens when you have a bunch of people that unite for the same purpose of something. Like if the aim is to find truth, let's say in our group, and that's our collective one. That's a lot more. What do you call it? A worthy spend of your time than going to church. If you want to put it that way, because like, and there we use that word umwelt again. What is the umwelt of a pastor? He doesn't walk around dealing with life's issues. He doesn't have to. He lives in a reality that is very different to real things. He can comment to people how to live, but he's not living through difficulty.
No,
Mm.
I wouldn't say that. I would say that not all of them live through difficulty or don't live through difficulty. I would say the problems that they make, or the issue, or the mistake that they might make is they are still living. Yeah? And the fact that you're still alive means that you haven't sorted out everything yet.
Well,
So they,
that presumes another statement that you are saying that there's some thought out purpose and you have to achieve it before you leave. That's a topic for another day.
there's a topic for another day. But what I'm saying is this: they are still alive. They also have to wake up next to somebody and smell that somebody's fart and whatever. Um, but they pointing it out as um,
Well, some of
I
them
have
don't believe they deserve that and they find other ones.
yeah I know
You younger ones.
yeah what is that guy's name from Retreat? Can't get to his name now.
I don't know names of pastors.
Yeah, no, I
Malcolm.
know a lot. One of them, yes, and he was there in that industrial area today, man, where Baldur's
Steve
Warehouse
Barry.
is now. Yes,
Ingeli. What is it? Ingeli?
yes,
No, no,
and
that was Power.
Gary is
Oh,
his name
Gary
Gary.
also.
Simon.
Yeah, boy. Yeah,
That's
boy.
that's Lindy's best friend live on
Is
YouTube.
it?
Unfortunately, I actually know Gary Simons
As I
personally.
said,
Is it?
I said it live on YouTube. That's Lindy's friend.
Is it?
To add fuel to fire, is he actually is a product of Desirable Nations or Ebenezer Baptist? Kyle
But
Driver also to a certain extent.
I know about Kylie. I didn't know about Gary, but
what I'm saying is that these Owens also doesn't have it sorted out, but they now want to tell you, look here, you need to plan so financially, but they still pay a bond. You know,
Mm.
you don't have your shit together if you still have to do um the same stuff, man. You
no, but
understand?
Jeremy, you miss it. You miss it, Jeremy. You're missing it. They
what
do
what
have
they,
they do have this shit together. You're paying for it. They have a great financial plan. You're gonna pay for it. You're gonna pay.
They
it.
have a great financial future. You are not.
I'm just gonna say some stuff from this book, and you're gonna pay for my life. That's what's gonna
Yeah.
happen.
That's what I'm saying, because they are saying they're making something, and they're thinking that, okay, I'm just gonna spin the story to this guy. He's gonna and I'm gonna
Yeah.
still look good.
And of course they also pay tithes. Oh, come on, of course pastors
Oh,
pay tithes.
yeah, with the time.
They're not being hypocrites. They also pay tithes.
With the time, yes.
No,
But
I
their
know
time
pastor
is
who
good
pays.
enough.
I know a pastor who paid tithe. Maybe he give 10% of what the church give him. Then he take it again next month.
Why don't you take 90%?
Sorry guys, I see we got a special guest here. That's my daughter.
Hey,
Seems like it's an issue here. So on.
so where were we? Jeremy,
Yeah,
you were saying
we were not all over, but yeah.
ethical love. I think we're talking about unethical and ethical love. And these pastors that don't have it together.
That makes 99 point something percent of them. Tell me about this book, man. This book is blind me.
Read it, man.
Which
Buy
book,
it and
man?
read it.
No, I won't buy it. Daryl must send us the
No.
PDF.
The Fresh Space does
Ooh.
not condone piracy. Let's just say that.
Mhm.
No,
No, we
man.
do not.
How much is the book?
190.
100.
Oh,
Let's-
man,
I
don't
don't-
give 50 rand. We can just-
Wait,
we can just share the
brother.
100
That
against
is
the law.
that is 3 Gatsby's, man, brother.
190 rand. Vaak op zijn
Ja.
Gatsby's.
That's
Brother,
one.
Jacob normal
Gatsby.
chips Gatsby's, brother. Cheap
Chips
Gatsby's.
Gatsby's. Chips Gatsby's.
Chips with sauce.
All right, it's 4 o'clock.
Big chip rolls. Yeah, so
4
as
o'clock.
we reach 4, we're going to keep it on time. Unless there's any other closing comments from Jeremy,
No, I'm good. I'm good.
Tyrone, or Lindley.
Mm-mm.
Just like us to
We're ending the YouTube.
do a better talk on love next time.
Yeah, I think next time we will dive deeper into ethical and unethical love, and maybe just clarify the psychologies or psychologists that get paid to be your friend that practice love and your perceptions of it.
Is that what you took from this?
The psychologists are like little, like human-sized USBs where you go to download your life and come back and just continue playing the game from there. But for those that have tuned in, this is Fresh Space, and if you don't have Discovery, you're welcome to tune into Fresh Space, where you can meet blind people who help each other navigate their way through life,
To see elephants.
through this jungle of life. Yeah, until we see elephants, or at least get our hand on it. And we talk about that elephant in the room called the truth. So
Yeah.
find us at Fresh Space, and let's do this again next week. Cheers.